Welcome back to the Milestone Moment, where we take top producing agents, ask them about their story, and get to know a little bit about what made them successful in real estate. Today we have Vasile Calin with John L. Scott. Vasile, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adrian. Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me on.
Tell me a little bit about your background. Obviously, I know a bit, but for our viewers, can you tell us about your start and kind of what got us here today?
Well, it's interesting. I guess we call it an interesting start. For the longest time, I was actually in the restaurant industry. Okay. I was in the bartending management, especially since 2016.
We know a little bit about that. I love it.
But COVID kind of pushed me into making a switch to real estate in 2021. I got licensed, and from there on, just got it going.
Well, tell us about your background as well. Obviously, you're not born here in the U.S., so tell us about your immigration story.
Originally from Romania. Been in the United States for, it's going to be 14 years in June. Okay. So been a little bit all over the country, North Carolina, Florida, and then in 2017 moved to Washington State.
What brought you to the U.S. in general? Had you?
Quite of a funny story. It was initially was just a student exchange, just for summertime. End up loving it to North Carolina, and got there, returned there for college. Went there to college for about 3 years, and then got married. Okay. And everything just settled to the United States now.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So it's a lot of change over the years for sure.
Now you're with John L. Scott on a team structure with Philip Roediker, the industry legend himself. Tell us about kind of how that formulated, how you guys got connected, and then how you picked, I guess, John L. Scott as far as your brokerage goes.
When I got into real estate, I was looking for a top brokerage. John Scott was one that was mentioned the most times, and I got connected to the number one office, the renting office. Yeah. I was there by myself for about a year and a half, getting everything started. Obviously, the number one broker, Phil Roediker, in our office, and we got to go to a few appointments together. Things started working well, and decided to join the team. I think it was 2024.
Oh my gosh! So, I mean, you've had a ton of early success, obviously, as time goes on, but you've done fantastic. Is there something that you think separates you from other agents? Obviously, work ethic, your personality. What do you think is kind of your secret sauce?
It's hard to name just one thing, but in general, being exposed to the right people, I think, was able to set me apart from the beginning. Being able to go the extra mile for my clients, and just one of the things that also influenced a lot was the background group. Having a lot of Eastern European contractors and investors, so being a lot of that helped to get more steady business and being able to
trust you. And got it. So you're in that cultural, or in that surrounded kind of group of people. And you still do different events with that group of people? I guess, how does that?
We're still, the more we grow, the more we get connected with people. So we have a lot of different events, parties together, work together. So it's a lot of mix and match with different friends in our group. So it's always it just keeps on growing on layers upon layers, running more and more, from just a normal first-time home buyer to people that are buying their fifth, their sixth home, investing, fix and flipping, building. So everything just layers upon layers of.
I love that.
For the background being connected.
And then do you, obviously with Phil and Cassie, his daughter is in the business, do you guys do some deals together, co-listings, or how does your relationship now kind of with the team work?
We work on everything together in a way. So Cassie takes care of a lot of the marketing part, the listing coordination. So she takes care of a lot of the day-to-day activity regarding the business. Okay. Me and Phil, we have a great relationship together, just in the way of how we work and understanding where we need to be together, where we go separate, being able to have the right experience necessary, having the right person take on the right project in a way. So we're working a lot of things together, fix and flips. We have quite a decent amount of projects coming up. Some of them are quiet together, some of them are separate. So it's all knowing the right person to be basically in front of that project.
I love that. And you guys are doing a ton of listings. Do you do any buyer stuff, or how do you kind of separate between buyers and listings, or kind of weigh those two things out?
A lot of it, even if it seems like we do a lot of listings, for me, the most of my business still has been 50-50. Okay. I still have the normal open houses, having the right amount of people still looking to buy on the regular stage. And we also have, between me and Phil, we also have a lot of leads working on the listing side as well. And projects, again, for the past 2 years has been a lot heavy on the fix and flip side and investor side.
Investor side, okay. That's great. Now, obviously, you've kind of grown very quickly. What do you attribute some of your early success to, and or just like your day-to-day business?
Just the willingness to dive in head on into everything, and just being exposed to the right people and having the right mentors around you.
Okay.
Just having the right, especially from the beginning, have the right guidance and understanding what it takes to be a good real estate agent makes a big difference. Because you have that confusion at the beginning. What you're supposed to be doing, there's so many ways to be in real estate and be successful in real estate. And I think at the beginning, everyone's just trying to grab on everything.
Yeah.
Where it's better just kind of focus on one lane and understand exactly how to go the extra mile and be able to deliver the right results.
Would that be one of, as far as advice for a newer agent? I mean, they're probably, chasing that shiny object and just trying different things. What are some advice you'd give to like an agent trying to get into the business?
Be as much as possible exposed to people that want to do something.
Okay.
For me, for the first year especially, for sell by owners, didn't get to many of them, but I was having appointments regularly, understand what people need. What is their question? What is their need? And just understanding how you can successfully help on that side. Also, open houses, that has been what set me in this business, because for the first year, I would do at least 4 of them a week.
Wow.
And my first dozen transaction was open houses or open house related. So for me, just getting started in that and just kind of understanding what people are looking for. For example, open houses, there's the same 12 question everyone would ask.
Sure.
So knowing when I walk into a house, just know exactly how to answer the 12 questions, that automatically sets you apart.
That's awesome.
So just being exposed to people and actually not just hiding behind a screen, because we get, as agents, stuck doing that, just looking at the MLS again and again and again. But being in front of people is what gets the job done.
I think with your restaurant background, you were very used to being in front of people, I'm sure, so that probably helps.
That helped a lot, for sure.
Just making those connections is probably super important. So we're in this technological age. We just finished up 2025 and Q1 of 2026. Is there any technology that you're currently either using in your business or that you maybe plan to use this year that you're excited about? Anything that you're kind of implementing currently or have done so that you truly like?
We're trying to implement AI more and more through optimizing some of like the listings that we're doing and just making things a little bit easier, smoother, and just working with ideas and scenarios of what makes our business better. And a lot of times what I've been playing with, just analyzing the deals that I have, the areas, the numbers. So just kind of getting a little bit more metrics behind it, just measurable. What are the measurable parts of our business that we'll be working on? We're always trying to stay top of mind, and we always try to generate more and more through newer CRM. We're just trying to add new services that can help grow our business.
Is that CRM that you have, is that through John L. Scott, or you guys have like a different one that you guys
We're
use?
using Follow Up Boss.
Okay.
John Scott has their own Engage system, but we've been using Follow Up Boss for a while, and that's what's been collecting a lot of our data. And works pretty well so far, so we're not changing it.
I love that. So I guess any growth within your business or any team members that you guys are planning on adding or anything that you're seeing kind of in this new year?
So at the moment, we have a new agent that started with us about a year ago.
Okay.
And he's been getting more and more traction. For us, what we're working on, and we try to do that a lot at our team meetings, be more efficient. And just understand where we're spending too much time. We're not getting enough results from that. So for me personally, I try, especially this year again with fix and flips, we have quite a few. So I try to make sure that I spend just the necessary amount of time, because you can get caught into day-to-day business with them and just check on them regularly. But having experienced investors, having a certain template for our investors to work with, made it a lot easier and just saves a lot more time. And just regular updates keeps everything a lot more hands-off in a way.
Okay, so the premise of the show, the milestone moment, it's when everything changed for you in real estate. You knew that this was the place for you. What's your milestone moment? Tell us that.
Is when I closed my first transaction, an open house lead. And I realized that it's possible. That is not, because at the beginning, you compare yourself to the top. So I was looking, Phil Roddicker, for example, doing a 70-80.
From here to there.
70-80 transaction, and we still had time to sit down and chit-chat for like 2-3 hours at a coffee, and just like you're not stressing out. Like you're not even looking at your phone. And he has this thing like where his phone is always off. So just being in such a control of your time, that was one of the things, just like, okay, so this is what it takes to have your sanity on. Just because taking on that much business and being able to control it flawlessly takes a lot of experience, and you compare yourself to the top, so it's hard to kind of get on. But once I closed my first transaction, it was just an aha moment. It's like, okay, it's possible. Those guys are super happy. It was not an easy transaction, especially it was 2022. So we 7 offers when we got the 8th house. So multiple offers again and again, and being able to stay with them and then being so happy at the end that we're still, We talk regularly to this day.
Oh my
At
gosh.
Thanksgiving at their house that I helped them buy. So it was
That's so cool.
It's a remarkable moment, and that emotional and them being so happy and me being so excited as well for the first transaction made a huge, huge difference.
Wow. So yeah, to keep them engaged through that long of a sales cycle on your first one, and obviously be able to kind of have that commonality with them, and then get it done, which some people would take that transaction and run from real estate, but it catapults you into many more.
And it's funny because people are just like, oh, you started at the greatest time. Was kind of the opposite, but because I started in that tough market, as some people consider it,
right,
is the only market that I had, the only experience that
the
I
market
had. So,
at that point, right?
Yep. So for me, it was just like it's not that bad,
right?
So things are only getting better compared to what I started at.
Yeah.
So.
Have you seen an uptick this year? What you're feeling on this year's market, or kind of where you're seeing the business currently as far as things go?
It's still a lot of the usual. People need to move, people need to sell, people need to buy. So we still have maybe not as much as want-to buyers or want-to sellers, but they still making moves. And price adjustment, we're a little bit more diligent to make sure that we're not missing anything when pricing, because it becomes a lot. Pricing and location impacts a lot, so we have to make sure that the things that we can control, we have it as dialed in as possible.
Love that. Any advice for clients out there kind of thinking about buying, or maybe going to list their house? Anything that you would tell those people?
For all my buyers, I tell them, like, there's a lot of opportunity out there.
Yeah.
Like right now, this time of the market, when people are afraid, there's so much noise going in the news.
Uncertainty.
Just be ready. There's always something to be had. There's always negotiations that you can make it happen. And I mean, some of the best deals that I had, like 300,000 below asking.
Wow.
So there's transactions that are just waiting to happen. You just have to be open-minded enough and patient enough to make it happen as a buyer. From the seller side, condition is key and pricing is key, and making sure that your house is actually easy accessible.
Okay. Right.
Because we had listings where if you decline the first showing, they never come back. So it's really hard to recapture the same buyer. So just have dialed in the system for them to be able to look at the house when they want to, because everyone is such a short attention span nowadays. They want to get in right away.
Yep. And then be diligent and then follow up and kind of keep that going. Well, Vasile, you've been a fantastic guest. We appreciate you being on the show, and we look forward to seeing you with a great year here in 2026. Thanks so much.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.